culturally or linguistically, access-wise, fill in the blank. And I'm not talking about this morning's stories, all right? Just in general. We routinely use surrogates. Surrogates are routinely briefed to Congress. There are no surprises to Congress to the fact that much of the activity of the agency is done on our behalf by surrogates. And I would simply suggest to you, as you think about what we're talking about here today and outsourcing and so on, keep in mind that surrogates come in a variety of flavors, and that an intelligence service like CIA has the ability to choose among those flavors for different missions. Right? So please keep that in mind. Not everything the agency does is this black and white binary world, contractor, government employee. But I'll end this point by simply saying, even when something is done by surrogates on your behalf, you are as responsible for it as if it was being done by a government employee.
So
surrogates we used to call, agents, and the world called spies.
Right.
And it's, and we never called ourselves spies. We called ourselves spy masters. But there is a trend that is very important. The intelligence community is now looking to try transnational issues that require investigative, almost police type of gritty tactical collection. It's a trend that's changing, and we didn't anticipate it. Let me put the burden here, as well as we might have. The private sector world is moving from the investigative world to the high-end intelligence collection. And there are these two trends that are running side by side. Many of my agents were strategic agents, okay? But they were not in a position to carry out what I would call some of these get into the police records over here in this little borough. And so there is a change taking place in my mind that is worthwhile for professionals to take a careful look at how that's weighted.
I'd like to open things up with questions from you guys. Please, yeah.
I'm Karen Ness with AP. I'm wondering if all of you could address this, but maybe starting with Mr. Devine, because you might have a different answer. Should there be a bright line between what contractors are allowed to do for the government, say in covert ops or specifically lethal covert ops, versus intelligence analysis or support, or do you think it's fair game for everyone?
I think you have to start at the very beginning when you take on a covert action program. You have to have a framework, and Mike and I have talked over a glass of wine and dinner about this, and that is, what are the criteria for action, whatever your action is, and what are the consequences of it? And I would start with, why isn't it done in-house? And then when you answer that question, why is it going out? Who is it going to? In other words, there is a cycle. And your point about where the red line is, I do think there have to be a series of decisions that have to be made. But the one that shouldn't be made is, here's something, we're going to go do it this way and not think through the full consequences. I would always try and get it done in-house. And there's a whole set of reasons which, I'm prepared to go into, but I think I don't want to monopolize that part of it. Look, I think one of the problems when I'm thinking of contractors is, first of all, you want to build the skills inside. They call it a trade. It's a trade craft. What did I learned at the knee of a series of people that I was proud to have worked for. My first recruitment was a setup. The chief actually knew that the guy was going to agree, sent me out there, and I spent the whole lunch trying to wiggle it into it. And the guy, wait, please, yes, I will do it. Just ask me, So my point was, it was a trade. How do you do it? So you need to make sure that you're not outsourcing capabilities that you need to develop. And it's management, training, working with foreign governments, and you have to weight how much you're putting out and how much is inside. The second thing is, if you're going to take lethal action, which the President must sign, it must be approved by Congress within, I believe, 72 hours. Mike and both Mikes can correct me on that. But if you have a lethal finding, it has to be briefed within a finite amount of time. Then I think you have to ask yourself, the question, and am I going to take this lethal action? If you say, I can't do it, I won't ask my son or daughter to do it, and it's not going to feel right in the Washington Post and the New York Times, and it won't pass a giggle test, you don't want to be outsourcing, you want to be involved in it.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Tim Shorrock. I'm the author of this book, Spies for Hire, which I think is the only nonfiction book about intelligence outsourcing.